working on our personal brand and going through this book, we have so far discussed the brand of you, what is a brand, why do you need one, how you would start creating one. We have been kind of doing just initial soul searching, looking at your own strengths and how you would create a brand that stands out from your competition. Then on chapters 4 and 5, there was example career journeys for you to read. And then on the 6th, we're going to talk about communicating the brand of you. So this one is, even though this is chapters 5 and 6, because we read those together, the 5 is the career journey for a student, so you can make sure you read through that like you did chapter 4. And then on the 6th, we start talking about how we would communicate the brand of you. And I actually go a little bit into the chapter 7 already here for the networking. So discussing right away, how do we start building our network? You never know where your opportunity comes from. You want to make sure you always network when you're meeting with tradespeople, realtors, furniture sales, and furniture sales, of course, branches then onto the other directions from that, going into fabrics, going into woodworking, appliance sales, countertop sales, tile sales. They're all connected in some ways. Whenever you are in interior design, you notice how small the professional community actually is. Everybody knows somebody. Somebody always knows somebody. So make sure that you realize that every opportunity you have to talk to professionals, they can be your next networking opportunity. Also, you should keep in mind any people you meet, whether it's at school or at the grocery store or church or movie theater, wherever you talk to people, you are always presenting you, and you never know who is your next client. For networking purposes, it's really important that you get involved in the community. Internships are very important, and sometimes you might have an opportunity for an internship where you are not necessarily so interested, but believe me that every opportunity teaches you something. I would jump on any internship opportunity you have just to learn something. You always benefit from these experiences. Volunteer. Join the professional and student organizations that are local. And show up at events, and not only design events. Get involved in a community. Your volunteer, some of the good volunteer professional associations are HBA, which is your Home Builders Association. Habitat is great, because Habitat, you're going to have a lot of other networking connections. It's not only design people. There's a lot of other people who are involved in the community. And when you support these different volunteer organizations and you get involved, when you support them, they support you. So get yourself out there and get involved. When you start getting involved in all these different sectors of the profession, you will start learning, or you Americans already know how to small talk. It comes harder for us Scandinavians. But you will learn to create an elevator pitch, which is what I want you to create for this week. And you will also have some type of a small talk introduction that you always have prepared. That's kind of your go-to that you can always use in a quick introductory opportunity. When you go to networking opportunities, you're going to always be enthusiastic, be positive, show how much you love your profession, and ask questions, share with other professionals what you have done. And we have talked about before how it's easy to catch people's attention by asking questions about them and talking about them. That's a great way to get the conversation going, and then move on to we're talking about you also. Always have business cards to hand out. And when you're handing out those business cards, also keep one for yourself, or if the person you're talking to has one, make sure you take notes to the back of it. So little things that are important that the person is telling you about themselves or their business, so that you can come back to those and show that you have listened to them and you have cared, and memorize some of these things about the person you talk to. That's always impressive. Have that elevator pitch prepared. Usually they are for specific occasion. Elevator pitch is more where you actually have an opportunity to tell people what you do, and we'll talk about it in a couple of slides here. It is more for a little bit lengthier time and opportunity that you have to possibly introduce yourself. Where small talk is very short time, where you might just have few sentences with the person you talk to. So for both, you should have a different type of a scenario planned, and then of course you adjust it according to the occasion. But at least you have an idea of few go-tos to use. And networking, let's face it, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But there's really no excuse to not prepare. Just be prepared for these short communications where you have to basically sell yourself. Elevator pitch, easy elevator pitch. Step 1. There's a great YouTube, if you want to watch this first one here. He talks about this formula, and I really like this. I think it's very simple, it's easy. And then there's a designer who talks about also creating an elevator pitch. I actually don't get as much out of her YouTube video as I do from the other one, but feel free to watch both of them. I think they probably both give you something. To start elevator pitch, a great way to just think about it is a formula. I help X to achieve Y by doing Z. So when we think about the X, Y, and Z, the X is the audience, Y is the value, and Z is how. Basically, we are talking, I help X. So my X could be a homeowner, builder, whoever it is. I help the homeowner to achieve, what is the value I'm giving them? Am I doing colors? Am I doing fabrics? Am I doing a full remodel? All new living room? All new basement finish? What am I doing? I help the customer to achieve whatever that might be. And how do I do that? That's an easy elevator pitch when you have opportunity to introduce yourself. Let's say you're in one of these networking opportunities, and they say, we're going to just introduce ourselves. Everybody stand up and tell us who you are. This is a perfect place for an elevator pitch. So come up with one that's short, sweet, enthusiastic, and fun. You want it always to be positive. And let me know if you have any questions. The step 2 really is taking this a little bit further. People love stories. So tell a story. People want to connect emotionally. If you get an opportunity beyond just introducing yourself, you can take it to this level. Now you can talk about a client that you had. Maybe the client had state the problem first, then talk about how you solved the problem and why were your services so valuable and impactful for solving the problem. By putting that problem in the beginning, you are creating that connection emotionally. Perhaps this was a person who had Alzheimer's and they had struggles with certain specific things. How many people cannot relate to Alzheimer's nowadays? Most people. Or maybe it's just aging in place. Most of us have family members who have went through this and who have had the same challenges. So right away, that person who you are talking to or the people who are listening to you, they are connecting to this emotionally. Then you show them solution. What did you do to solve this problem? And then why are your services so valuable? Why was it that you made an impact? Which by the time you state the problem and solve the problem, sometimes that already shows the value. So this last part might not have to be so obvious for you to actually point it out. It might just be very logical after you state the problem and solve the problem. Again, these are the same YouTube videos. I would watch them just to see what you can get out of them. They're not very long, a couple minutes. Small talk. I am not the best person to teach you this. I do not know how to small talk. In Finland, we are just direct talkers. We find small talk wasteful. And I'm not saying right or wrong. It's just a cultural difference. We actually celebrate silence, and we tend to think that small talk is just not necessary. I guess it's the best way for me to describe it. But I will go through this small talk section, and if you have some great ideas that you want to share with your peer, please do. In a small talk, you should always have the hook. The hook is the attention getter. Great ways to just hook somebody into small talk is weather, fashion, compliment them on their outfit, current details. Shy away usually from politics or religion because you never know where people stand on those. But let's talk about March Madness. Let's talk about let's talk about the art show that's going on downtown, or something current, local, something that you could both relate to. Number 2 in small talk, all about you. Who are you and what you do? Make sure you briefly, if you have the opportunity, briefly introduce yourself. It's polite. And of course, you want to take the opportunity to introduce what you do as well. Number 3, the intention. What would you like to accomplish when you small talk? So sometimes this might be just you don't have a goal. You don't have the end goal. You're literally just talking to people, being social. But if it is situation where you are using the small talk to gain something, then whatever you are wanting to accomplish, but whether it's making a connection, let's say you at an event and you know there's a builder who has just pulled a permit for new high-rise downtown St. Louis. You don't know if they have cabinetry or if they have interior designer for that space yet, and you want to ask them that. If you have a goal that you actually want to accomplish something, you might just need to ask for this instead of beat around the bush and you just never get to it. Say, hey, I noticed, congratulations, I noticed you just pulled a building permit. When are you starting? When are you starting to break the ground? And just make questions that are generic. And then, well, I'm an interior designer. If you don't have anybody for that project yet, I would love the opportunity to interview for the spot. And I would say, if you don't ask the questions, I guarantee you the next person he turns to, that designer will. So make sure you are your own advocate and pursue the opportunities. Next steps. Number 4. Once you have talked to the person, and hopefully you have gotten somewhere, if there is a next step coming, then make sure you are very clear on that. Why don't I give you a call next week and maybe we can set up a coffee meeting at the closest Starbucks, or maybe I will send you an email next week to follow up on this conversation, or we'll get the ball rolling. Whatever it might be, establish that next step. Then what? So this one goes back to, once you have made that connection, establish the next step. Email, phone call, coffee meeting. Always reach out to thank you. Many students think that this is old-fashioned, but I'm going to tell you right now, sometimes even internships go to the people who have interviewed and they send thank you notes. Thank you notes are still very important. It is polite and it shows that you appreciated their time. Everybody's time is money, so it's extremely important. I also want to end by saying that while you are on your path, interior design has so many different directions you can go to. Very few of us know exactly what we want to end up doing. We might have to do things that we didn't plan on to find the things that we want to do, what we actually feel passionate about. Don't plan too far ahead. Take one opportunity at a time. Take them all as learning opportunities, gaining more knowledge, gaining diversity as a competitive designer. Try out different things, even if you try them out to find out that you don't like them. Sometimes that is the way to find out what you really like. Always love what you do. If you do not love what you do, change your direction. The universe will put you in the same situations over and over until you learn to react differently, until you learn to think differently, until you learn enough is enough. Remember this, old habits do not open new doors. You must eliminate in order to evolve.